So if you need to state whether the trig functions are even or odd, you can get it. Get the other 6 from these two. Sine of x. Here, it's better if I type it. Sine of x is odd. And this isn't a proof, but you can see it anecdotally. If you plug in sine of negative 30, you can take out your calculator. 30 negative, I want sine of that angle, and it's negative 0.5, right? Take any other angle, you could do sine of negative 60. So here's 60, negative, sine, it's negative 0.866. And if it's odd, that should be the same thing as negative. So that should equal negative sine of 30. And that should equal negative sine of 60. And let's check. And again, this isn't a proof, this is just gathering evidence to support this claim. Not enough to be sure for all values. But sine of 30 is 0.5, so negative 0.5, that's the same thing as sine of negative 30. And that's what being odd is. A negative value for x is the same thing as multiplying the original function's value by a negative sign. That's the definition of odd. And then similarly, cosine of x is even. Sine is odd, cosine's even. So you can get all the other trig functions because secant is just 1 over cosine, right? So if secant is odd, so if cosine is even, then secant is even, okay? Because look, 1 divided by something, that's not going to change whether it's negative or positive, right? That doesn't change the negative or positive value. So secant is odd. I'll do one more, but I don't want to ruin the rest of them. And if you need to do tangent, the tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? Or in other words, that's the opposite over hypotenuse divided by the opposite over adjacent. Tangent is sine over cosine. And so sine is, oh, sorry, this one doesn't necessarily flow as easily. Tangent is odd. Okay, so good thing we went over that one. So I guess we need to really remember 3. Sine is odd, cosine is even. An odd divided by an even doesn't necessarily make it odd or anything like that. Tangent is odd. So from those 3, you should be able to get the rest of the trig functions. Remembering that secant is even. Secant is even because cosine is even. And 1 divided by this, whatever this value is going to be, that's not going to change the sign. It's going to still have the same sign as cosine. So.